Well, hello everyone. Good evening. I'm glad that you have joined tonight. We are excited because we have a great story for you. I told you I was going to share a secret. Okay, I told you I was going to share a secret tonight. And well, of course, by this point, you know it's not really a secret anymore. It's actually the truth about my sister's story. All right, so I am so excited because tonight I want to tell you a story about what has happened in the life of the Idahosa family, of Ruth Idahosa, of Bishop Feb Idahosa, of Archbishop Margaret Idahosa, and really of all of us, really. So as we're going to go, as we're on live tonight, I'm sharing what I'm calling a conqueror story, okay? What I want to talk to you about is tonight is what I call faith in the face of COVID-19, and it's a conqueror story. It's the story of Ruth Idahosa. Her handle, as you know, is Find Your Path, and we're going to talk, okay? So she's on right now, so I'm going to connect to her all the way in New York, and we're going to talk, okay? New York, as you know, is the epicenter of the coronavirus and COVID-19, and it just so happened that during that time, I'll let her tell your story, okay? But I'm so excited because tonight I get to interview my sister. This is our first time doing a live like this, and and it's important because we're sharing a true story, a life story about something that affected her and has affected so many people. I'm just going to go right into it so that we can talk, okay? So let me find Ruth, and then we'll talk, okay? All right, here we go. There you go, Ruth. All right. Thank you all for joining from wherever you're watching around the world. I'm very, very excited about this, okay?
All right.
Hello, hey, Ruth.
Hello, hi everyone.
Oh, I can't hear you. It's with my volume.
Can you hear me?
You gotta be kidding me. I can't hear you.
Can you
How
hear
you
me
doing?
now? Hi, can you hear me now?
Hold on 1 second. I'm not able to hear. This is funny. Why am I not hearing this? Okay, here we go. Okay. How you doing?
Turn my volume up. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you perfectly now. Thank you.
All right. Hello,
All
everyone.
right, here we go. How you doing? All right, I'm seeing everyone from all around the world. I see Bev from Kenya, Pastor Dan Ado from Tulsa. I see Almost Day from Abuja, Lori from Benin. Hey, this is awesome. Good to see you.
Good to see all of you.
You have your makeup on, you're looking gorgeous. I don't have any makeup on, so I need to.
Thank you.
I need some powder or something.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, good to see you. Okay, so let's talk about this. We have about an hour to talk, and I want to get into your story. I want the world to hear about this experience. So the big secret, like I told everyone, is that you caught COVID-19.
I did.
Do you have an idea how it happened?
We still there here. All right.
We still there, yes.
Yeah. So, I started just not feeling like myself. I'd been doing a lot of traveling. Anybody who follows our work, knows that, I travel to speak and just do, a lot of international waka, as we say. And I had just gone back from a trip, and I started not feeling like myself. And then I realized for the first few days, I actually had the flu, right? So I went through the flu for about a week and a half, got over that. And then, I suddenly started, my heart rate started racing out of nowhere, which is very unusual for me. And I started just feeling extremely tired, so like kind of feeling like you have malaria, that beginning phase of malaria. So I was exhausted. And so I thought, okay, maybe the flu is just taking time, to work its way out of my system. Yeah, so I started resting a little bit, but this just continued. I started experiencing a lot of tightness in my chest. I started having difficulty breathing, in addition to my heart rate. And then all of a sudden, I started losing weight, and I'm already.
You don't have much weight to begin with.
Yeah, I'm already at the weight that I'm happy with. But there was a point where I was losing a pound a day, half a kilo a day. And I really started getting worried at that point. I started having, I lost taste. I couldn't taste, me, I love food, and anybody who knows me,
okay, I've heard about that one. They lose taste, yeah.
I lost my taste. I started I started having like a vertigo kind of feeling where I didn't
Wow.
feel like I was in my body. Yeah. And so at that point I was like, this can't be, it's not the flu. It's not, you know, I started looking up symptoms for COVID. But at that point, I wasn't having the typical symptoms, which were fever, cough, sore throats, diarrhea, and things like that. So initially, I wasn't exactly sure what it was, but then I went, finally I decided I would go and get tested. Alex, I see you there. The devil is a lie, he said.
That was a lie. That was a lawyer.
So I finally went and got tested, and my test came back positive. And I think for most
Wow.
people who go through that experience, because, particularly because I was in New York, and every single day, there were hundreds and hundreds of deaths. The numbers kept climbing up. There was a point where we were at 800 a day, 900 people dying every single day.
Wow.
And, at
Jesus
that
Lord.
point, I think I had to make, come to, I had this existential crisis of, oh my God, could this possibly be it? And just started having kind of, talking back and forth, asking myself all these questions. And then, for whatever reason, as soon as I got my positive test results, I suddenly started having all the COVID symptoms. I developed a fever.
Wait, it's funny. Wait, hold on a second. I remember there was a time very, very early, just after you left, about a week or so after you left, that we thought you were saying you thought you had malaria. I remember we went to the pharmacy and I called the doctor here. It's okay. Let's send some malaria medicine to you, because I thought I was just malaria.
Yeah. I think
Okay, and so
initially, because I had the flu, and then I was like, oh, it must be malaria, because once
just
when
left Nigeria, right?
Yeah, I was in Abuja, and I'd gotten bitten 40, 50 times on my legs with mosquitoes. So I was like,
Abuja people,
by
Abuja. You just
by
know
the
me.
water,
All my friends Abuja, you're the one.
trying to enjoy a scenic view, in Abuja. Anyway, I ended up, so I was like, oh, maybe I should get some malaria medicine, but I didn't have, what I needed. But anyway, after I got tested, and I got a positive test from the COVID, like I said, I started developing all the symptoms. I suddenly then had, fever. I had headaches, terrible, terrible headaches. I got a cough, and I was nauseated, just not feeling like myself. I started having all these joint and body aches, same thing like you would have malaria, but I've been referring to it as malaria on steroids. Because
That's interesting.
this felt like 100 times worse than malaria would feel. I couldn't even, the energy to get up, to walk, 2-3 meters, felt like I had ran a marathon. My heart was just racing, 120, 130 beats per minute. And I think I'm, being honest when I just say that fear literally just gripped me. Because at one point I was afraid. I was like, God, this, you've not brought me this far. I started saying all the things that we like to say as Christians.
I don't believe it brought me this far to leave me.
Leave me.
Come on now.
But I think I had, what for me, what was the turning point in what I would say is my recovery. Even though I still was having the symptoms, I was still experiencing everything. I just made the decision that I was going to stay positive and that I was going to live. And I think a lot of times, sounds very simple, right? But when you're actually dealing with it, and those of you who are on the front lines, thank you to all our frontline workers, wherever you are all around the world. Those of you who are on the front line know, to have to, to deal with the, symptoms and to see people who are sick every day. I just decided that, what, I'm gonna pull back all my journals, everything that God had ever said to me about my life. I started checking off all the things I had.
It's the time to do it.
And man, I was
done it, not done it.
Everything that I hadn't yet accomplished that God had told me. Oh yeah, I started pulling them out. You said And as a person of faith, somebody who really believes in faith, you know, I really started holding on to the promises of God and just confessing them over my life, I will
Absolutely.
live, I will not die. I will testify of the goodness of God in the land of the living. I just started saying them out loud, you know, worshiping. And that, you know, that was really the turning point for me, even though I was still having all the symptoms and dealing with the reality of COVID.
Wow, wow, wow. Amazing, amazing story. So, okay, so I got lots of questions to ask you. And in case you're watching right now, of course you are watching. If anybody watching right now, please go down the very questions box, the very bottom of the questions box, and just type in your questions. I want to ask them to Ruth and just have her just talk about her experience. This is amazing because your experience is one that many people have gone through in the U.S. and other places. Now, in Africa, we're not seeing, in Nigeria, we're not seeing the same symptoms, the same results. We're not seeing the number of deaths. We're not seeing all these different things. And there's a very big question around what we're saying. Okay, look, this is fake. COVID-19 is not real. Coronavirus is not true. It's not a real thing. So how do you answer that kind of question now, having gone through it yourself? You've gone through it, but say it's not true. It's fake. It's a conspiracy. It's a lie. How do you deal with it?
Yeah, you know, I mean, last I checked, I mean, I think, you know, it was 5.7 million people around the world that have been infected with COVID.
Wow.
You know, 2.4 million of them, thankfully, have recovered. But the reality is that, you know, there have been 354,000 people who have died as a result.
Around the world,
And
yeah.
so I think the fact that just because you don't believe that the sun will rise every day
Doesn't mean it won't rise.
doesn't mean that it doesn't, right? So I think that a lot of people who have that sort of mentality that it's a hoax, or they think that I've even heard people say it's a Igbo people disease or it's a rich person disease. People who tend to use that sort of perspective generally because they've not had a personal experience, right? So you don't know anybody who has gone through COVID. You don't know the reality of it. It's sort of like, you know, knowing somebody who, like, you know, having been one of the Chibok girls, for example. A lot of people didn't believe in the abduction of the girls from Chibok because they didn't really know anybody that had that personal experience. But so for COVID, I sort of consider it similar, right? Until you actually have gone through something, until you actually have been a victim of rape, until you've actually been robbed, until you've actually been beaten, it's really hard to, you know, sympathize because, you know, it's easier to just take that position that, oh, this thing can't be real, but it's absolutely real. I mean, I think I'm, you know, certainly living proof of not just the goodness and the mercy of God, but that this experience does happen. I mean, and I'm somebody who is a germaphobe. I hate germs.
Oh,
I mean,
wow. Yes, I know.
constantly,
You don't drink after anybody else.
I didn't shake hands before COVID.
It was even worse now.
Side hugger, you know, like, you know, but, and I was doing everything that I could to protect myself, even before this became a pandemic, and I still got infected. And so I think the main people that have lots of different theories, you hear all these conspiracy theories about it. But I'm living proof, you know, that this is real and it certainly needs to be taken seriously.
Okay, awesome. All right, so I'm seeing some questions here. If you can't see the question box, it's down at the very bottom next to where you can put comments. Someone's asking here, they said, okay, how did did you go to the hospital and how did you treat it? Now, I know Nigerians like pepper soup so much. Did you do pepper soup?
Yeah. You know, I was actually joking with our mom that because, you know, my mom is very into homeopathic, just taking care of yourself even before all of this. And one of the things that she's been doing has been steaming, and you see all those concoctions, I should say, because now everybody's an herbalist, right?
Yeah, herbalist is not a good thing.
Exactly. So they were, you know, she was steaming one day with orange peel and garlic and ginger,
onions, garlic, ginger, yeah,
and everything like that. And so I was joking with her, "Mommy, just add the meat. Just add the meat. Just make it pepper soup, right?" Because I mean, at this point, Yeah, but I think once I started having shortness of breath, and I would wake up gasping for air and not getting enough oxygen into my lungs. I mean, I realized, something was seriously wrong. I didn't want to go to the hospital because of the numbers. I was actually really afraid of actually going to the hospital because once they intubate you, the chances of you coming out successfully of an
Right.
intubation is about 20%. And so, so I said to God, I said, whatever healing we're doing, oh yeah, like, yeah, the thing will happen because, but I was on the phone with my doctor. I actually went into my doctor's office several times, and then also just did everything that they told me to do. So I was doing a lot of steaming. I was doing a lot of, including things in my diet that would boost my immune system. So a lot of vitamin C. I was taking a lot of zinc. Shout out to my auntie in Las Vegas, who became my
Yes,
daily,
the
my
family
daily,
herbalist, family
yes, my
pharmacist.
family herbalist, family pharmacist. But I increased my vitamin C, my zinc, my magnesium. I started eating a lot of garlic, ginger. I mean, to the point where I started feeling as if I was smelling of garlic and ginger. Like it was in my hair, in my food, in my taste buds, and everything like that. So I got a lot of rest, but I also did not stay still, right? So I think this illness, they say that the way that it kills people is that it actually takes your breath away, right? And so
Okay,
and what you
wow.
do when you lay down and you're constantly just on your back is that you're allowing fluid to build in your lungs, which can cause pneumonia, which is then potentially what happens, where a lot of people then go down. And so I just forced myself up every single day. I would walk around my own space with my mask on, and just not leaving my home, but I just made sure that I walked and walked and walked as much as all the energy it took in me. I did a lot of walking. But I also took communion as somebody of faith. I started
Okay,
taking
talk to us about that. So
communion.
that's the faith part there.
Yeah, yeah. So I did. I started taking Holy Communion. I think a lot of people tend to think that it has to be some process where you're with your wine, and the wine represents the blood, and your crackers or whatever. A lot of times I didn't have the energy to leave my room, and so whatever was close to me. I've had communion with plantain chips. I've had it with
Oh,
cream
Jesus.
crackers. I've had I've had communion with whatever was actually literally next to me. I've used water. I've used tea. I've used ginger ale, Gatorade, anything that was close to me. And I think the point is that we just believe as people of faith that this is a representation, right? And God honors that. It's the faith that God honors that allows us to be able to use whatever it is. I mean, I think Jesus used what he had, and he just happened to have wine and bread next to him, but he would have used plantain chips if they were sitting next to him, I believe.
Okay, let's not take it that far. Because I love plantains, so very
I know
soon,
I'm talking
we'll start
to
including
a
with
bishop,
plantains. So let's
sorry.
not take it that far. The blood. Okay, let's talk to you about this now. Talk about you've mentioned faith quite a few times, and knowing who you are, the daughter of Archbishop Feb Idahosa, Africa's original man of faith, Africa's apostle of faith, and people say, well, having that faith, because I've seen pastors here say, you know what, faith, that coronavirus is not real, will never touch me, all these different things. So you had faith, you believe in God, you have a very, very strong faith. And I'm going to ask you some questions here, I'll say that in a minute, okay? But in having that faith, knowing that this is going on all around you, faith did not prevent you from getting coronavirus. Now, is it that you were in sin, or God did not like you, or there was no faith in you? I know the answer I'm looking for, but I want to hear you say it, because you're actually from the pedigree that originally brought faith, not say brought faith, but demonstrated faith in Africa, and yet you still got the virus. So how do you now begin to balance that when people say, okay, well, yeah, maybe your faith wasn't strong enough, that's why you got coronavirus?
Yeah, it's interesting. I find it rather interesting because tend to kind of stay, you're preaching on the side of, you know, well, there must have been something wrong with you, right? And when we look at the story of the blind man and that was healed by Jesus, you know, a lot of people ask that question. You know, is there something wrong with him? Was it his parents' sin? Whose sin? What? There must have been something, you know, that led to this happening. And I love Christ's response. Like, no, it was so that he could bear witness to my goodness, to my grace, to my mercy. And so a lot, it's not necessarily even about the person. Like I said, you know, me too, I can shande, hande, hold my Honda the same way that everybody else
Hold my Honda, time I go time.
Yes, I mean, I can buy my Honda and everything. But, you know, I also love God, and I'm a person of faith. But the reality is that sometimes God allows things to happen in your life so that you can be a blessing, be strength, be encouragement to other people. God allows you, He takes you through seasons in your life so that you can emerge and bear witness, as I like to say, to His goodness and to His mercy. And so when I hear people say that, it sounds very ignorant as to who God is, right? Because Jesus certainly didn't have to let Peter start drowning. He could have just let Peter just walk directly to him when he said, come, you know, but he actually let him go down and start drowning so that he could use that moment to make it a teachable lesson.
Yeah. Absolutely. Awesome. Okay, so Frida's here. I got so many questions. Frida's here. Frida's saying, hi, Frida. Frida's saying, a witness to God's mercy as grace. I love that one. Thank you, Frida. Okay, so I have a question here from our Auntie Ireti Doyle. She's on watching as well, too. Thank you, Ireti, for watching. We appreciate you. All right, so she's asking the question here. She says, considering all the pictures, all the numbers and the vivid pictures we see, how did you deal with the psychological turmoil of it all? How did you deal with the trauma, the turmoil? How did you deal with that?
Yeah, you know, I mean, in some ways, I still feel like I may have developed a little bit of post-traumatic stress because I had the flu, and I got COVID, and then I got a cold after that, and I was like, what going on? So it's been a long season of really just you know, having a lot of space, you know, to think, right? And there's a lot of, you know, mental health considerations, I think, that have resulted for a lot of people as a result of this. But I think for me, it really was just about remembering the promises of God, remembering the things that God had spoken over my life, and claiming faith over fear, right? Because you have the two options. And I won't lie to you and say, I won't lie to you and say that I was in a space of faith, you know, continuously. Many of the people, Ireti will tell you, there were times, you know, her and I chatted, or and I would say, man, she'd pray for me because, you know, sometimes your hands aren't strong enough to keep you uplifted. That's the reason why Moses had Aaron and her, I don't know, Bishop, you correct me, upholding his arms, because you don't necessarily always have have it within you to carry yourself through. And so God sends sisters, He sends mothers, He sends brothers, He sends, you know, best friends. My best friend David, shout out to him wherever he is. I mean, I'll call him in the middle of the night, afraid, you know, and he would just pray peace over me. So I think having the support of a network, not being so caught on your or just allowing yourself to be vulnerable is the way I should put it. I told my staff when I got sick. I told some really good friends, people who I knew would hold me in that space of strength and with love and shower me with concern, right? And so it's important that you have people come around to embrace you while you're going through something like this as well.
Wow, awesome. Okay, I got so many comments here. Okay, so this question keeps coming up over and over again. People asking the same question. Do you know how you caught it? Do you know how you got it? I see Pastor Nika there is online as well. Pastor Nika, thank you for watching as well. We appreciate you. Don't faint, don't faint.
Auntie. Auntie, bless you. Love you.
Mazanika says, so you can have deep compassion for people that don't have faith. So that's one of these things. So yeah, so now you have that compassion for people, so much compassion. God bless you. Awesome. Okay, so thank you, Pastor Nika. I appreciate you. People are asking, this question has come up several times here. Do you know how you caught it? Do you know can you trace how you got it? Do you know what happened? I know you answered that at the beginning, but go ahead and say it again.
Yeah, I was saying that I'd actually traveled extensively right before I started feeling unwell, and so I'm not exactly sure. I mean, I'm the kind of person that when I get on the plane, I bring out my wipes. I'm not saying whether they look me
You wipe the
side
table,
eye
wipe everywhere. Oh my gosh.
constantly using hand sanitizer. And I still got sick, right? So I'm really not sure. It may have been, I was around a lot of Italians. Alex, you were there.
Yes,
and
you were Nigerian, some Italians in Nigeria.
Yes, I spent a lot of time with some Italians. And so when the first index case got announced, they were all sitting there next to me, and I was like,
slow motion.
Right. Where did you come from again? So Italiano. Anyway, but yeah, no, I don't know. And I'm not sure, unless you've actually been in contact with somebody who tested positive, I'm not sure that you'll be able to know for sure.
Okay, awesome. Okay. All right, let me thank everyone for watching again. I've got Lori's watching, Jindu's watching, Frida's watching. Most of the days asking, most of the days saying, can you take Hennessy for Holy Communion? Let me just tell you that one, no, don't try it. Don't try it. Okay, I'll just tell you that right now. That's free of charge, no cost. Don't try it. All right, let me continue. Okay, two people have asked the same question. They're asking, do you think you're immune to it now, or are you worried about catching it again? Do you think you need to keep taking precautions? Two people have asked that same question now. Same question twice.
Yeah, I mean, I ended up getting retested, right? So after a few weeks, I ended up getting retested to see if the virus was still active within my system. But I will share this. I think it's interesting to say, not interesting, but just an example of God's incredible love for us, that he sent my mother in a dream, our mom, I should say our mother in a dream.
Okay, okay.
And I was actually looking up. I was looking in my dream. I was going to buy coffee. So I was looking up at the menu, and I just heard our mother's voice behind me say, "You're no longer positive." And I woke up from the dream.
Shut up. Hey, you better dream. I like that dream. Let's dream again. Dream again, sister.
Yeah. I didn't hear what you said, Fem.
I said, dream again, sister. That's a good dream. I have a dream. Hallelujah.
So I woke up from the dream, and I was convinced, because normally when I hear the voice of God, it's not in my mom's voice. But I was convinced after that God was so loving enough to send a soothing voice to confirm me that I was no longer positive. And so the next day I actually went to get tested. Are you still there?
Okay,
it
very,
seems like it's
good.
Reconnecting.
We got you.
Are you still there?
We got you.
Okay. Yeah. So the next day I actually went to get retested, and I got my test was negative. So I'm corona-free, virus-free, COVID-free. But I also took the test. Yes, praise God. But I also took the test for antibodies, right, to see if I had an immune response
good.
Built up.
Yeah, tell us about that.
And so, so my the test for the antibodies also came back positive, which is a good thing, meaning that my body has built some sort of immune response to COVID-19. But now here's where it gets a little funny, because they're not really sure if that necessarily means that you have a certain level of immunity, and exactly how long that immunity
it lasts, right?
Right.
So what we're hearing is not sure how long it will last, right?
Right. So there's some illnesses, like let's say chickenpox, that usually afford you a lifetime immunity. But because this virus and this disease is so new, they're not quite sure yet if it's a sort of thing that will last for 3 months, 6 months, a year. But because I am an introverted germaphobe, I still carry my sanitizer. I still carry wear my sanitizer, I wear my mask. I'm still doing everything as a precautionary measure. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, this is great. This is great. Okay, so I'll give some shout outs in a minute. Let me ask you this one now. There's a certain stigma that goes with people that even go and get just tested, much less having the virus. What are you gonna, how are we going to deal with that one? Because we're talking about now that stigma and people that are sick or issues like that too. How are we going to deal with the stigma that comes with this now?
Yeah. Well, I think, you know, one of the things is that
because even just sharing that you had coronavirus, there was a little bit of people saying, should I even say that at all? Because it's something that's kind of
yeah.
Talk to me about that one.
Yeah, you know, I think a stigma is you make the choice about whether something or not is going to be a stigma for yourself, right? So
wait, say it again. Say that again. Say that again.
Yeah. So you make a choice. You make the decision as to whether or not to consider something a stigma to yourself, right? So somebody can label you as a as crazy. But if you know you're not crazy and you choose to identify yourself as someone who's not crazy, then the stigma then has no power over you, right? So,
right.
So you know, I like to tell the story again. Because I'm a person of faith, about the man whose four friends left him down in front of Jesus, who was a paraplegic, and Jesus healed him.
Right.
Jesus said, you know, rise up, take up your mat, and go. Why on earth would he still need the mat? You know, I mean, the mat was a reflection of something that had held him down. Right. But the reason why, you know, at least in my understanding of the revelation, is that when you take that mat with you, that mat then becomes symbolic of the grace and the mercy and the power of God, right? So anytime people saw that mat with him, they would be like, what happened here? And then he could then bear witness, right? To the grace and the mercy of God. And so that's how I look at this. That's how I look at anything that I've experienced, whether it's trauma or anything that I've gone through. It's my mat. COVID-19 is just yet one more mat that is a reflection of the goodness and the mercy of God. And so people can refer to it as a stigma. But that was one of the reasons why I actually wanted to have this live video, because you know, there are a lot of people, like we were saying, that, you know, don't believe it's real. They think, oh, you know, now that, you know, something's wrong with you. I didn't do anything to cause this to happen to me. I think that it's something that happened because God had a reason. There's somebody that's going to be encouraged and uplifted. Perhaps people are going to go get tested now. Perhaps people are going to now be able to associate a face and a name with the illness and know that it's real.
Someone that you know, right.
Right. Someone that they believe and someone that's credible. And maybe that will then start to change the discourse about COVID-19. And so when I made the decision, I was actually going to start speaking publicly about this. The stigma was something I wanted to address. And the stigma was something the stigma was something I wanted to address. And so hopefully something that we can start to eradicate, because Nigerians, I think we tend to be very judgmental, right? We tend to place the stigma.
Nigerians judgmental? No.
Very hypocritical, you know, and we tend to place the stigma on the wrong person. That's why you'll have a rape victim who then has to hide in shame, who then has to live with the trauma of not being able to speak out about it, because we tend to reverse the stigma. But it shouldn't be on the people who, first of all, did nothing to get COVID-19. And then secondly, I've made the decision that nobody can define who I am. Nobody can label me. And so stigma.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that one, because because I want to add to what you just said about having that issue of people saying, people talking about what you had and what you went through. When Christ talked to the man who was healed, he said, get up, carry your bed and walk. Now, here's the thing, I'd like to talk about that one too. Because see, for so long, that bed had defined him. For so long, that bed had actually carried him. And so now Christ was saying to him, said, look, carry that thing that defined you, and now you begin to define it. You begin to carry it and tell people, look, this thing used to define me, but now I'm the one who is in charge. So it carried me for so long and defined me. But now I'm going to walk out of here. I'm going to carry it. I'm going to define what it does from this point on. And same thing what you're doing right now. You know, COVID-19 came, knocked at your door. It defined who you were for a little bit of time, but then you carried it. You got up, you got healed from it. The Holy Spirit came, God sent his power, healed you, carried you up, and now you are carrying that thing. You're defining what power it has. You're defining what happens to it. You tell the world, this is what came, but guess what? I conquered it. So, I wrote on today, I said, look, I said she caught it, she fought it, and she conquered it. And that's exactly what the power of God does. He comes in and he stands and gives you power to become a witness of his mercy and of his grace. Awesome. Thank you for that. That's so cool.
Great.
Okay, cool. So I got another question because some people are here. Let me see. I love what you said too about saying that we get to define if we carry a stigma or not. I love that one because you get to decide what it does for you. You get to decide what people say. You get to decide what happens next. So what do you got? What's next for you now? Post COVID-19. What's next for you? What's the next step that you're going to be taking from here?
Well, I'm really hoping, as part of my recovery, to really be able to help raise awareness about this, right? As just, besides the work that I do with Pathfinders, besides the work we do with survivors of trafficking and sexual violence. I'm going to obviously continue that, but I really also hope that somehow we can, help to raise awareness about the reality, because part of my concern about what's happening in Nigeria is that a lot of people are afraid to go get tested, or they're, because of the shame, fear, or whatever it is, right? Or the disbelief about the reality. And part of my concern is that, there's so many people that are walking around with undiagnosed illnesses. Because we know, we hear that phrase all the time. Oh, what happened? Oh, he just slumped. What do you mean he just slumped? What happened? And nobody can tell you, right? Because we don't do a lot of autopsies. But there are a lot of people that, are walking around with comorbidities, whether it's asthma, diabetes, high blood pressure, their immune system is compromised in some way. And we know that the virus actually it actually makes those people sicker, and the chances of you dying as a result of it are increased if you have any of these comorbidities or underlying conditions. Right. And so I think one of the things I really would like to be able to do is to help raise awareness about that, so that people actually know what the current status of their health is, and also that they can actually get tested, because we know that early detection of this illness actually saves lives. Early treatment actually saves lives. And so one of my hopes is that we can collectively, all of us, whether it's through whatever means you have, to be able to help spread the word, because a lot of people are going to potentially get infected and not really understand what happened, right? So hopefully we can help to raise awareness about that. But for me, I'm just excited about just getting back to my everyday, doing the things I love to do, hugging our survivors, coming up with solutions.
No, we're not hugging right now.
Not right now. Fighting with government, all my regular, all my regular self kind of things. But I think this time has actually been very restorative for me, because it's really let me slow down, and apparently I needed to slow down. So
sometimes God does that. Okay, 2 more questions. Someone's asking here, how long between when you started feeling bad, between that time when you got diagnosed, how long from when you got diagnosed to sort of your self-treatment did you get better? Did it take really from feeling bad to treatment to getting better? What kind of time frame was in there?
Yeah, because like I said, I had the flu before I got COVID. And so a lot of the dates are just the weeks kind of have blended into each other for me. So, I was sick for probably 4 or 5 weeks of feeling very, very sick. And so I can't really tell you exactly when it was that, I know from, like I said, when I got my positive test results is when I started having all the COVID symptoms, even though I knew I wasn't feeling well beforehand. So I would say probably there were about 2 weeks of when it was absolutely horrific. And then after that I started, but I was sick for, like I said, probably a month and a half or so. But there were 2 weeks, I think, when it was the worst of everything. And then I started feeling better. I feel like I'm still, I'm not 100%. I still have a little bit of a cough. And I know that, but I believe that God will finish what he started, of course. And particularly since I'm negative, I'm very excited.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, let's change it. Okay, so let me ask another question. Someone is asking, did you tell those around you if you had it? Like maybe I know you live with your daughter. Did you tell those around you if you had it? Did you tell anybody what happened, so that way they can kind of watch out for being around you or not? I'm going to switch my tripod real quick. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean,
go ahead.
That question is pretty much, were you responsible with this something?
I'm going to switch my tripod real quick. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. No problem. Yes. No. I mean, I think immediately once I got my test results, even before I got my test results, I actually started self-quarantining because I knew I wasn't feeling myself. And even though I didn't have all the typical COVID symptoms, I still just self-isolated as a precautionary measure. And anybody I had been around, I definitely contacted to make sure that they were aware that I was positive. And thankfully, nobody contracted it from me. But I think one of the things I also want to make clear is that they believe the experts, whoever they are. I don't know how nobody can really be an expert on COVID-19. The Dr. Fauci's of the world and people like that believe that you're probably most contagious prior to showing the symptoms, right? So that's why they ask people to wear the mask, because up to 40% of people are asymptomatic, meaning that you're not going to show the symptoms, right? So if you are most contagious before you actually show symptoms, you have no idea. You could just be walking around, talking. So that's why it's important that you actually wear the mask to protect other people, because the mask is really not about you necessarily. It's about trying to protect other people from getting ill.
The mask shows your concern for other people around you, right?
Right.
So the mask shows your concern for people around you. Awesome. Okay, so let's just say that one again. Lori is saying your work with Pathfinders has beautifully prepared you for this conversation. Very, very true. Thank you, honey. I love this one too, because what we need to start doing now is having that compassion, having that care. I'm going to wrap up in a few minutes here because of time. But some people are talking, asking questions here. Okay, wait. Pastor Uyi is asking a question here. He says, can we use kind for sanitizer? Can we use other things? God bless you, Uyi.
Well, apparently
okay,
you can just use basic rubbing alcohol, apparently. So I don't know about
I see.
though.
I'm reading through the comments here. Oh, I guess who's watching? Your mother's watching. She says, the word of God is true. For he says, if you are in the fire or water, he is with you. And this is a victory testimony. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Amen. Thank you, Mama. Thank you, Carol. Thank you. Let's see, Carol's watching. Karen's watching. That's Danado is watching. Awesome. Okay, let me do one last one, and I'll begin to wrap up. I want to first of all just give a shout out to the people who are to the healthcare workers. You mentioned them earlier on. I see someone. Okay, I have Mooley Lucy is a healthcare worker. Prince Bella is a healthcare worker. Linda is a healthcare worker. Blessings Flowing is also a healthcare worker. They're watching right now. I want to thank you guys for your sacrifice, for the hard work that you guys are putting in to keep the world safe and for what you're doing. So thank you. God bless you. And everyone else who's watching the healthcare, that's also a healthcare worker. Thank you for all of the job you're doing. God bless you in Jesus' name. All right. Let me see. Any more questions before I wrap up here? Sorry, Saiga, what's Saiga's questions? Someone says they're not afraid of being tested. They're afraid of being treated when they're afraid of how they're being treated when they're diagnosed. That's also true too.
Yeah.
I love that one. Okay. Saiga, what's your question about mindsets? Okay. Someone says she's using insecticide. How many insecticides did you use?
How many?
That one, okay. How many insecticides did you use? Insecticide and other things. Let's leave that one alone. All right.
I didn't drink bleach. I didn't inject it into.
Yeah, let's leave that one alone before someone's watching your saliva and ask you a question. Yeah. All right, let me do my last question here. Talk about this. people need to take this thing seriously. That's for me, that's the biggest thing. What are your biggest lessons you learned from this? And this is my last one. The biggest lessons you've learned about people taking this seriously, about people coming out of the experience, having faith, and knowing that God is a good God. God still heals. For me, one of my things is that I tell people that sometimes God will prevent you from actually getting into the fire or into the storm. Because we pray and people say, well, may never come near me in Jesus' name. We say, God forbid, all those different things. And many times, God will prevent you from getting into the storm. Absolutely. Other times, God will let you get into the storm. And when you're in the storm, he will save you in the storm. Other times, God will let you come through the storm so that when you come out of it, you're a testimony on the other side. And so what are your biggest lessons from this whole experience? Your biggest lessons, what you've learned as you come out of it?
Well, I think, first of all, one of the things I want to say is that we all should take this very seriously, because the truth is that you don't really know how your body is going to respond, right, to it. There's people who have, whose bodies actually respond in a way where they produce too much of an immune response, right? And that then becomes a problem. And so this is not just like an old person disease. It's not just, I know people who are in the 20s, people who are in the 30s, people in their 40s, my age mates, who passed away from it. So I think that's one of the things I just want to emphasize, is that you have to take it seriously. And this is a communal effort, right? Because I was doing everything I possibly could not to get sick. But all it took is that one person who refused to wash his hands, that one person who decided that,
someone who picked their nose,
right,
and then did that, and then
they were just going to sneeze and let's share the germs with everybody. And so my actions actually affect you. Your actions affect me, right? And so if we're not collectively doing it, right, if we're not doing, if we're not being responsible together by maintaining, the responsible radius, as I like to call it, if we're not doing that, then ultimately, then my efforts are really for naught, right? Because, how I respond affects you, and vice versa. I think for me, one of the other things I really had to learn was just to be patient with myself. I'm generally an impatient person. Yes, and there is such a thing as COVID fatigue, because I was sick for a very long time, and I got tired of being, not feeling like myself. But the same love and compassion that you would exhibit for other people, you should also be willing, I think, to do that for yourself. For me now, I think one of the other big things is that I'm not as afraid of death and dying. I think I was, all of us to a certain extent. We know that we are going to go and be with the Lord and all of that, but nobody wants to go now, right? But I think one of the things that this has taught me is to let go of that fear, because at some point, like I always say, Lazarus had to die at some point, right? We all have a day when that will be the end of it. So how are you going to live with more of a sense of urgency in the now, right?
Live with a sense of urgency, right?
One of the things that I've learned through all this is that everything that we plan to do, as assuming, we have a year, we have 2 years, we have 4 years, you may not. The 3 Hebrew boys, in the fire said, if God, they believe that God can heal them. Can deliver them from this thing. But even if he chooses not to, they still would, they still plan to serve God. And so even if God does not necessarily heal, which we know that he has the power, we know that he has the power to do so, but not, there are hundreds of thousands of people that have died from this. Many of them were Christians, Bible believing, tongue speaking. But I think for me, I got to a place of peace where I said, you know what, God, I believe that you can heal me, and I believe that you will heal me. But if for whatever reason it's my time, then it's my time. But the fact that God did heal me, I think, has brought me to a space of living with more of a sense of urgency. The things that he's put in my heart to do, the visions that he has given to me to do, let's go ahead and start doing them. So I encourage everybody, I think, that's watching, if there are things that you've been thinking about, you've been considering, there's no better time to get all of that into play and to start putting some action behind your words.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This has been awesome. People are saying they're inspired. People are talking about how this is a blessing. Pastor Nika, thank you for watching all the way through. Antiria T, thank you for watching. This is so awesome. Thank you. I know I said that was the last question, but I have one more. This has to do with the political side now, because someone is saying here, people believe COVID is real everywhere else except for Nigeria, except Africa, that right now they think it's being used for political reasons. And I know you're not a politician. I don't want you to go into too much politics, but what are your thoughts about this, God, about this being real? I want to keep talking about that over and over again. And for those of you who just joined us now, thank you for joining us now. This is going to be live. It's going to be on my IGTV and on Ruth's IGTV as well too. We'll also put it on YouTube as well later on, so you can watch it as well. But let me ask you a question. What about that? I believe they think it's not real everywhere else, but Nigeria is not really real. It's politics, etc.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we're really not that special that it can be real everywhere else. And not real for us. I mean, I think, you know what, the truth is that a lot of people are actually just responding to a lot of political trauma that Nigeria has put us through, right? You know, Nigeria has really, in many ways, disappointed a lot of people. We haven't necessarily stepped up to do the things that we have been required to do on behalf of the people. Right. I mean, and we've not really prioritized human beings and given the value and the weight to life that we should, right? And so a lot of people are just responding to that trauma and believing, you know, and so it's easy to believe that it's all about politics, all about NCDC just getting money to be able to do this, or governors doing that, people inflating their cases and all of that. But the reality is that there's still, you know, about several hundred people in Nigeria, 250 people or so that have died in Nigeria of the confirmed deaths, right? And so it has to be real. Just because it hasn't happened to you does not discount the reality. And so I think it shows a lack of compassion. I think particularly when you see other people who are experiencing it, and discounting their experience or not invalidating it in some way.
That's true. Okay, awesome. Thank you. And I think that the issue about compassion is very true. Frida just quoted you, said the same love and compassion you exhibit for other people, you need to offer yourself as well too. This is excellent. We're about to wrap up. So let me just. You ready? Okay. All right. So thank you very much for your time today. This is very, very cool. Let's see. Someone says you look like Papa. Someone says compassion of faith. Everyone is saying thank you very, very much for sharing your story. Thank you for being real. Thank you for telling the truth. Thank you for making this about not just about someone who's just far off, because it's very easy for us to think when we see on TV all these numbers. Just numbers are real. Nigeria has 8,000 something now. They're just numbers. But now we know a real person. We've seen your face. We know you're real. So thank you for this. I want to pray as we close today. I want to say a word of prayer. But before I do that, I want to just quickly just give you one small surprise. So let's see what we have here. Surprise.
I think I have a feeling with this. Hi, Mama.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. I rejoice with you, darling. I celebrate you. I celebrate your courage. I celebrate what you stand for. I celebrate all those that are tuned in with us today. Glory and honor be unto God. Listen, I want to pray for you, for the courage that you had to give your testimony. I was just telling them today in one of the programs I just did that when COVID-19 is gone totally, for the first 2 weeks of our lives in the church, we are not going to do anything than to say praises, sing praises to God, give testimony, roll on the altar, give God the praise and the glory. That is what I am saying. I want to thank God for your life, my darling. In the face of death, we've read on social media, on television, thousands of people died. Thousands. Mortuary was full up and things were going haywire. But thanks be unto God that we have a testimony. And I rejoice with you, my darling. I rejoice with you. For what you stand for, I rejoice and I celebrate you in the name of Jesus. Father, I commit your daughter unto you. Thank you, Father, for the courage that you have given unto her. And above all, thank you for the testimony of her healing, her rescue, her deliverance. Thank you for doing it. Your word declares, when you are in the fire, when you are in the water, whatever you are passing through, I, your God, will be with you because you have faith in God. Thanks be unto God for that which you have done today. Father, in the name of Jesus, I commit her unto you. I commit her, oh God, for total healing in the name of Jesus. Thank you for what you have done for her. You have done for the family. You have done for Christendom. And I use this time, oh God, to pray for everyone out here and in there, inside this country, outside this country, those that have coronavirus. I decree and I declare that what you have done for your daughter, that you do for them as well. In the name of Jesus. We thank you for the blood of Jesus. We thank you for that which you did at the cross of Calvary. We celebrate what you did, and we celebrate, oh God, that which you are doing. Glory and honor be ascribed unto you. In the face of death, oh God, you delivered your daughter. In the face of sicknesses, you delivered your daughter. In the face, oh God, of COVID-19, glory. We want to thank you. Baba Uwese, thank you. Weruru Mamo, glory and honor be ascribed unto you. In the name of God the Father, in the name of God the Son, and God the Holy Ghost. Amen and amen and amen.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Thank you, Mama. Thank you.
Amen, my darling. Glory, glory to God.
Hope you like the surprise.
Yes. Oh my God.
All right. Okay,
You
so
guys have been awesome.
I'm gonna go.
I know I've got like literally 1 second left, but just to say thank you to my family. Thank you for your love, support, all of you. Lori, to Wale, I mean, all the extended, everybody, all my friends, thank you for all your love. I appreciate all of you. God bless you. Daisy, Frida, Osasu, I mean, come on.
They're all watching, yeah. Everyone's watching.
God bless you. Thank you, all my friends. Love you guys. Love you all. God bless you all. Thank you.
Yep. Priscilla's watching. Saige's watching.
Right.
Sasu's watching from Japan.
Oh,
Daisy's watching in
wow.
Abuja.
Awesome.
Frida's
All right, so
watching. Lori's watching. Jabana's watching. Everybody's watching. Thank you, guys.
Please make sure you take care of yourselves. Make sure you wash your hands, wear your mask. Please go get tested. Go get tested. You could be saving not just your life, but the life of somebody else that you love and care about. All right, God bless you.
All right, God bless you. So let me do a quick prayer. Thank you, Father, for this wonderful testimony today. We thank you that this will strengthen many people's lives, and that, Lord God, it will indeed be a window and a door for people to get something new. That, Lord God, your daughter went through this trauma. She came out of it. She caught it, she fought it, and she conquered it. I pray that the same way, those who are watching right now will get faith and be inspired from this in the name of Jesus. May your healing power flow through them, and may your grace bring us through in the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen. Thank you, Ruth, for this. We appreciate you. Everyone watching, Pastor Bishop Feb from Warrior, everybody watching, thank you, guys. Please go to IGTV if you missed any part of this. It'll be on IGTV on my channel. It'll be on Ruth's channel as well, too. It'll be on YouTube. We're going to try to stream it on Facebook as well later on, on Mama's Facebook as well, too. Pastor Oyi, thank you. Freke Umo is watching. Freke is watching. Everyone's watching. So thank you. God bless you, everyone. From South Africa to London. Karen and the parents are watching. David Babale and Joss is watching. Anyway, thank you, everyone. God bless you. I can't mention everybody's name. Thank you for watching. I hope this was able to encourage you. I hope it was able to keep you inspired. It was able to get you to be a testimony to somebody else. God bless you. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Ruth. Any final words?
Thank you all, healthcare workers again. We love you. We appreciate you. Please stay safe, everybody, and wash your hands.
Well, Pastor Faye is watching too from Delaware. I forgot she came in very early. Pastor Faye came in very early. Thank you, Mama Faye.
All right, bye.
Thank you, Tori, for watching. God bless you.
Thanks so much. All right, love you, Ruth. Bye-bye.
Love you too.
Well,
Bye.
Vince from London is watching. Hey, Vince, God bless you. Hi, everybody's watching. Okay. All right, I got to go. Pastor Harvey from Full Court. Love you guys. Thank you for watching. Bye. All right, guys, thank you for watching. Watch the replay. Get inspired. Get your faith strengthened. May God keep you. May God strengthen you in Jesus' name. Amen.